All right. Another week, another episode of the Centre Circle podcast. I'm John and I'm joined by Bins and Keith. What's going on, boys?
Well, nothing much.
I'm all right, you know. Only way is up.
Yeah, man. It's all right. We'll give context in a minute. This is now episode 72, and as usual, we're gonna run through some of the Premiership games, do a bit of a review, and talk to a couple of topics that have come up this week. We'll be talking about Newcastle's draw with City, the Cole Palmer showdown at Stamford Bridge versus Brighton, Arsenal's late show against Leicester at the Emirates, and we'll round up the other games. Everton, Dwight McNeil showing up there for the Blues. Liverpool getting away with one at Molineux, and Fulham. I was going to say shatter, but it's only 6 games in. Ending Forest's unbeaten record.
Shatter.
Yeah. Shatters their unbeaten record. Yeah, 6 games, John. Calm down. Yes, and then we'll talk about a little bit about who's maybe already on the ropes from the managers, you know, in the dugout, who's on the ropes. And this the newest irritation for our learned pundits, the teams playing out from the back, seems to have got them in a real twist. But I think they should just relax, because a few of them have coached and now they're on our TVs for a reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, Newcastle City. I mean, it was an unexciting game, I would say.
Definitely. Yeah.
Early kickoff. However, I think the things to take away from this game is a 1-1 result. Anthony Gordon from the spot, and who scored for City? Vardio, yes, which is really annoying because I took him out of my fantasy team on Friday night. Anyway, so yeah, not much to really talk about from the game. However, I think there's a couple of things that when people are talking about it, I was saying before we started, it feels like already, sort of 6 or so games in, we're already on this mindset of, okay, City have dropped points in the early game. Now Arsenal are playing at 3. Can they take advantage? Liverpool, you're playing at 5. Can you keep pace? And you know, you go back.
Who's setting the mark already?
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, this feels like it's 15, 20 games in. Isn't it a bit early for all of this?
No. and that's just because of the standard that Manchester City have created under Pep. Like previously, when you could win the league with high 70s, low 80s, didn't really matter. Like if you dropped a couple points in the early part of the season, you'd hopefully claw them up. But with the bar and mark of getting over 90 points to win the league, you can't be dropping points as frequent as what you could do previously. So that's why now everything feels pressurized, and Manchester City dropping points in the early game, I think it gives other teams a boost before their matches begin. Yeah.
What do you think, Vince?
You know, again, I'm kind of echoing what I am echoing what Keith's saying, and I think that was from the start of the season. Arteta done an interview, and in the interview they asked him, "What do you think it's going to take to win the league?" And Arteta said, "Every game." And everyone thought it was like, but it's like that now. It's right. Yeah. Right now, it's every game is a win. Like you've got to win, or you cannot leave without getting a point minimum.
Yeah.
And obviously it depends on what type of point it is. However, it's that stage now, so it's crazy. Like you said, it's 6 games in.
I mean, last season you get 89 points, you still lose the league by 2 points. You know, the season before, the 22-23 season, again,
it's 5.
89 points wins the league. 84 gets you second, right? You go back another year, 21-22, again, they done it again. You get 92 points, Liverpool.
That
you still don't win the league.
Relatively low.
Yeah.
Like,
in the scheme of things, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, it was just almost a sense check of we're 6 games in, lads. Like, but I'm not saying I'm immune to it. I'm feeling it as well. I'm thinking they've drawn. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to sit down and watch the Arsenal game. And, you know, we'll come to the game in a second. But as that game's going along, I'm finding myself like,
on it?
Yeah, I'm hold on. We we can't draw this game.
Yeah. It's like you have to capitalize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I the boss like, oh, come on, bro. We're still in September. Like,
Relax.
so it's just interesting how, to your point, I think I was gonna do the same old, it's because there's so much coverage, but actually you're right. It's just the bar that's been
We're
set.
invested.
And now someone else is feeling the pain that Liverpool were feeling for that period. What would you say that period was? 3-4 years? You and Man City competing for the Prem?
It was 3 seasons, so we finished second twice and we won it once.
Previous to that, what you say, Chelsea probably were giving them a run for their what years?
I think who finished second the first year Pep won it. I think it was
United.
No, it was United. Yeah, it was Mourinho's United.
Oh yeah,
wasn't it?
Mourinho's United. Yeah.
And even then they weren't that close to Pep.
Yeah.
It's only like Liverpool and Arsenal that have really pushed them to like the last.
2020, 2021. No, where was the Mourinho year? Because 2020, 2021 is just coming out of COVID.
17,
so you won it
18.
the COVID year, the asterisk one.
17, 18 was the first year they won it.
No way. I forgot about this.
Yeah, it weren't close.
City won it, the league with 100 points.
Yeah.
Man United was second with 81. Tottenham were third with 77 points.
Yeah, bruv.
Nah, that is mockage. No one talks about that really.
Yeah.
That is absolutely
it's
mental.
100
points.
It's been swept under the carpet now. No one
Get out of
You're
it, man. Just get out of it.
Yeah. But I think with the game yesterday,
Yeah.
a lot of the talk was how they're going to cope without Rodri, because obviously he's out for the season now. And De Bruyne is out for a couple of weeks. But you got to remember, they won their first 4 games without Rodri playing in the team because he had an injury and he kind of faded.
Coming back from...
Yeah, he got phased back in. So I think that was kind of a bit of a... when they try to create a narrative around something.
It's an easy place to go, right?
Yeah.
It's an easy place to go when you're looking at root cause. Yeah.
In terms of a player, it's a big loss of a
player.
100%.
Yeah. And they made a big thing about like Kovacic and Rico Lewis playing like as holders with Gundogan in front of them. And to be fair, he didn't have a great game, Gundogan. And then when they were 1-0 up, Pope, poor clearance to him, tried to lob him from outside the box and just essentially just passed it back to him, which is pretty bad. But Newcastle were in the ascendancy, and Manchester City's goal was against the run of play, to be fair, and it was a good feat from Guardiola. Like Grealish done well.
Started it with his right foot.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
I mean, but is it to carry on? Well, it's only 2 games, but there was a lot of talk about City had a lack of imagination when Arsenal went into the low block last week. The 5-4-0, as we called it.
Yeah.
Do you think that theme kind of carried on into this game? You know, again, people are feeling that actually, okay, fine, Rodri's more of a solidity thing, but actually, without Kevin De Bruyne, is there a lack of imagination?
I think there's a number of issues there, and when I looked at the lineup, I thought Savinho was going to start. And I was like, bad day at the office for Lewis. I was waiting to see like clips, highlight reels of Lewis getting roasted.
Well, he got roasted by Grealish to set up the goal. He lunged in and he nutmegged it, didn't he? So.
And then I thought, okay. So then when I saw who did he play? Was it Bernardo?
Bernardo and Grealish.
I was like, so it was a lot. But then those players are more creative than Doku in the sense of and Savinho in terms of running.
They got a bit more range in how they're creative. Yeah.
How they're creative in that sense. So I think there is a restructure going on for me at City. Don't mean their levels have dropped dramatically, but there's a small restructure going on in terms of what they're looking for. Foden, but also remember, Foden hasn't been starting.
I was going to say, because that's my thing with the whole KDB narrative, is that Phil Foden is there. He's supposed to be heir apparent. He's meant to be the next in line. He's not starting for whatever reason. And you know, Pep goes through these phases where some players, for some reason, they don't touch bench. I don't know whether they've upset him. I don't know whether he's come back thinking he's big time because of how he did at the Euros. I don't know, right? But I'm not really hearing that kind of KDB talk, because again, we had the full Foden kind of performance last season. The impact he made for England in the Euros when he finally started playing. And then Pep's not using him, his prerogative, but that's not because KDB. So their lack of imagination for me, that there are other tools other than KDB that you could be utilising. And we have to just think about the fact that other coaches, they learn, they see stuff, and they're all working to nullify. So, you know, if you're not going to use some of the tools that maybe seem obvious to us,
Yeah.
people on the street. You know, and he thought maybe the speed and directness of Doku and Savino wasn't the way to go. Fine, but Eddie Howe was prepared for that, right? And he's got plays for that. So.
Yeah. And it kind of depends on how, like, you got to have iterations of your team. We saw Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson do it like immaculately over the years. And it seems like
both positively and negatively.
Yeah. Pep's going into like a new iteration of his team where, you know, you kind of had the dynamism of your Sanes and your Mahrez and even Sterling to an extent where even though
What do you mean to an extent? Bro, man, respect Raheem.
Yeah, Sterling was there. Bro.
Yeah,
like,
he was, but he weren't like
to an extent.
what? He weren't like what?
Like he weren't like as flary as Mahrez. You know what I mean?
I don't
like
think...
Well, he wasn't as techie as Mahrez.
Not as techie. Not many. I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking him, but yeah. Where it's like even though Savinho, we've seen him kind of potentially do that.
Yeah.
The wingers he's got now quite compact in it. Like they're less exciting, but they're still getting the job done. And as to John's point earlier, where teams have not maybe cottoned on, but I think it's easier to nullify this because they're less. What's the word? There's less improvisation, I think, from the wide players now. So I think it's easier to nullify it. I might be wrong, but that's just what I'm.
I like that point where you say improvisation because I've been watching Savino a couple of games. I'm saying, all right, and then he comes out and gives a little 5-yard pass inside. I'm like,
because the first game of the season, he was on the outside just, and then now he's like,
he takes him to the line, turns back.
Yeah, that's interesting, you know, because I never.
And same with Grealish. Remember, he done it with Grealish. He dropped Grealish for a little bit until he got the system.
Yeah, the improvisation point. It's a good point, but I'll be honest. That's not how I saw them. I saw them as the team that, no matter how you set up, you made it really, really difficult to be broken down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they could do the difficult thing more often than everybody else.
Yeah.
So if you set up a low block, yes, Kevin De Bruyne will do that mad pass from the right, the inside right pocket and thread it all the way to the back post and whatever. Yeah. So not only were they able to see what it took, they had the quality to execute it almost every week, right? So that's kind of where I saw it, So if you do manage to pull the team to one side and then create space on the other side, then yes, Mahrez is the guy you want. And more often than not, if that only happens 3 times in the game, he'll make the right decision. He's got the quality. He's got the techers to either finish or create a big chance, and then the other people are going to finish it off. So that's an interesting point. But for me, I think City always were able to, even if there was only one way to beat a team, or there was only one, or really, the team really locked it down, it didn't matter. That level of difficulty, they could meet it, and they could meet it regularly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just think now that, to your point, this iteration of the team, I'm not entirely sure what to expect. So back to your point, in those days, we had, you had Mahrez, you had KDB, maybe Grealish on the other side, or Foden, or if Silva was playing, and you just could see situations in the game, and you're like, oh, all right. This is you now. You're gonna get, there would be certain passages of play, and as soon as if KDB picks up the ball and turns in a certain place, or Kyle Walker gets it, you're like, all right, this is it. Whereas now, I'm a bit like, and then we had a bit of that with Haaland, right? So for a couple of seasons, we had that with Haaland, but already it just feels like there's a bit of a mismatch somewhere. And I don't know what it is. I don't know whether he's almost trying to go back to pre-Haaland days. But then put Haaland on top. And maybe because even when they were playing against us, there were times where he wanted it quicker. He wanted it in the box quicker. He wanted it in his vicinity quicker so he could cause his carnage, he could use his strength. Yeah. And it wasn't happening. They were still passing the ball around, etc. So I'm not entirely sure what it is. But it just seems to me that when you have the 2 direct guys on the wing, Doku and Savino, and Haaland in the middle, that seems to be what's causing teams the most problems.
Yeah.
That version seems to be right now what causes teams the most problems.
And I think there's one other thing that we haven't looked at, or I only looked at it earlier, and I was thinking what Oscar Bob was bringing.
Yeah, true.
Because Oscar Bob got injured at the
Yeah.
beginning, and that was maybe the X factor why they said Alvarez can go.
Mm.
We've got Oscar Bob here.
Fair.
And the times I've seen Oscar Bob play,
I think there was some PSR stuff about Alvarez going as well. Because that profit is massive, right? What did they buy him for? 15 million or something
Yeah.
stupid or something crazy. To sell him for 90 million.
Yeah.
Right now, thanks. We'll take that.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I'll take your point. That injury there, but they've got enough. And I think this just goes back to how Pep uses it. Every once in a while, Pep does something that we all say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Champions League final against Chelsea, etc.
Yeah.
So to your point, yesterday you're thinking, right, you got two fairly young fullbacks. It's a Doku and Savino show. And he said, nah, we're going to go with intricacy. We're going to go with a bit of movement, etc. So yeah, but let's see. It's only the sixth game. They've not won in 3, but it's not like they're losing.
Yeah.
So that's the other point. Everyone talks about they haven't won. They're not losing. And it's very, very early.
And just kind of, I don't know if you was good, but I just wanted to highlight a couple of things for Newcastle. Like, Gordon got his new contract. Or getting a new contract. Played really well. Like, playing as the forward, then you're not actually a forward. He made some good runs. He was a nuisance up there. He won the penalty.
And I know it's a bit of a cliche, but one thing you will get out of him is work.
Yeah.
He will cover ground. He will pressure.
Yeah.
So I don't mean working like the old British sense of, you got to roll your seat. But he will intelligently work
down space.
and execute what has been told, basically.
Yeah. And actually, when Newcastle bought him, I was like, now, actually, for the money they got him for, it looks like a decent bit of business. And Tonali started.
Yep. How was he?
He was all right.
Yeah.
But what I liked about Newcastle, or not that I liked, but what I observed, should I say, is actually it got a bit shirty at one point. Like, it got a bit like very physical.
Oh, do you think people
teams
are picking up that you can rattle City?
Yeah. And they were getting on like Newcastle.
But Bruno and Joe Linton love that.
Yeah.
And Tonali got in it with Grealish. Yeah, they had
But
it.
Grealish looks like he just want to slap.
Yeah, he would, but he's up. Grealish is one of them.
Nah, but
annoying
see
ones,
Bruno and Joe Linton, bruv, every week they want to scrap.
Yeah.
They're on it.
And Tonali was up for it. So there was a little bit of scrap. But what that showed me was that actually, one, Newcastle still fighting for their position.
Yes, of course.
Battling for top 4. But they're still fighting for Eddie Howe. And even though we've put question marks over his tactical nous and
Yeah. I don't think he's ever had a problem with kind of player power and personnel.
Yeah. He runs a decent ship.
No, he does run a decent ship, but then when you start moving up into that higher play, players start is he the guy to
and we
keep
talked
us
about it
there?
after the Champions League season and should they, who can push them on next, etc. And it's funny because Newcastle went for Unai before Howe, didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember he turned it. It was quite public. He turned it down, and then he went to Villa. And you could see what they were trying to do, what direction they were trying to go. I tell you, someone in the Newcastle team who of late, I didn't see that I didn't see this before he came. Harvey Barnes.
Yeah.
Like I knew he was decent at Leicester, but I didn't know some of the finishes he's been doing lately.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, okay, I get it. I understand. And I would argue he's a better finisher than Gordon.
Yeah,
I would say he's a better finisher than Gordon. But his injury didn't help.
Yeah.
And then Gordon has come and basically done what everyone felt like he was going to do for Everton anyway. So yeah, I think the thing with Newcastle is injuries.
Yeah.
And having the right pieces fit for long enough together.
Yeah.
Because you brought that together with Isak and it's a dangerous team.
Yeah. And they've still got relatively no superstars in their team. Like it's a team of it's a team
Workers,
basically.
yeah.
It's like these are my pieces. I'm putting them together and they're gonna get the job done.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't heavily rely on Gordon or Isak. Like I think the workload is shared amongst the team and squad. So
yeah, Jacob Murphy.
Yeah,
but he plays his part, don't he?
But he comes in. He does his job,
pace.
So, and that's why I mentioned because to your point, it's a team, right? So it's the workload shared out.
Yeah, even Willock, he'll come in and whatever goal. Here and there.
We ridicule him, but even Dan Burns, he moved.
No, not we. Keith ridicules him. I don't ridicule Dan Burns, innit?
Did you see him for the goal yesterday?
But
he can be ridiculed.
That's not fair. But however,
no, but I get your point. Yeah.
However, he works hard,
and
he gives Eddie Howe and Newcastle what they need, a platform to work on. So if he needs to go aggressive, he goes aggressive, and actually moving him inside has actually kind of worked out.
100%. So yeah, thanks Newcastle, holding up the City boys. Next, let's go to Stamford Bridge.
Ooh.
It's to a game that if you're doing your coaching badges, they'll probably say, yeah, this is an example of what's not supposed to happen. But as a neutral, you know, you would love it. The game finished Chelsea 4, Brighton 2.
Mhm.
And all 6 goals were scored in the first half.
Yeah.
All of Chelsea's goals were scored by Cole Palmer. And he could have had 5. He should have had 5.
Yeah, he should have had 5.
Yeah.
6, okay, fair. The other one was, but he should have had 5.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an easy chance. But because of how he's been finishing, yeah, he should have had 5. Nicola Jackson had a decent game as well. And I think yesterday epitomised what you've both said about Chelsea in recent times. Like attacking wise, problems, absolute problems. So dangerous.
Technical. Yeah.
Yeah, goes through Palmer. We were talking about at the time Palmer and Madueke, and then now Sancho's joined in.
Yeah.
On the left hand side, causing fullbacks problems. You know, he's going past players.
Yeah.
He's doing all the things that Man United fans told us he couldn't do.
He needs to pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of running.
Right.
Choices.
And then Jackson, I know I mentioned him last week. Man have scored, but again, assist.
Yeah.
Playing his part up front.
Yeah, had chances.
But at the back, Keith, talk to us about your mate Sanchez in goal.
My mate Sanchez. I said it was a strange signing.
You said it from even before he put on the show. When they signed him, you were early saying, nah, not good.
There's a certain level of goalkeepers that you want in your team. And yeah, he's just not one of them. And at Brighton, it works, isn't it? Because Brighton are a team on the up, etc. I think a team like Chelsea, who I put them in my top 4, who are going to be pushing for the Champions League, you need someone a little bit more solid. And he just gives you the nerves. Like, he's a good shot stopper, but he's just too nervous in possession with the ball.
I think it's more than that, though. Possession with where his starting position is. No, I'll be honest. When I've watched, I'm like, why are you standing there? It's the starting position. What commands and instructions he's given to the team? Because that's part of the reason why you concede goals as well. If your keeper is not giving you good instructions, and we may think, the fans they talk to each other. Yeah. You go to a live game, they talk. So it's not that they can't hear each other. So what are the instructions he's giving to his team? Is he telling them to drop 5 yards early enough? Is he telling them to push out quick enough? There's a number of things that he's not good enough. But the problem is, you look at Chelsea's goalkeeping situation. They got that new one. Is it Jorgensen?
Yeah, well, they signed like 3 keepers. Yeah,
but is he good enough?
Yeah.
So the problem is right now they've got no good
but
goalkeepers.
Keepers are like strikers at the minute. There's not a good pool of goalkeepers out there. It's very hard.
Yeah, Jorgensen was on the bench.
Yeah, it's very hard to find a good goalkeeper.
And then we saw what Kepa done last week.
Not that hard. Not as. It's not that hard. Not when you're spending the money they're spending.
Yeah. I think we done really well to sign Marinashvili ahead of next season, because he's kind of the next biggish goalkeeper.
No, but I guess to your point, okay, so the point you made last pod around Kelleher, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
But they're not getting Kelleher off us.
No, but that's what I said. But the money they're spending, they got enough money to for you to be like, well, we're not turning that down for a number 2.
Yeah, okay.
And you're good enough to become a number 1. So yes, when the top keepers are not, the Allisons and co are not 10 a penny, but there's enough keepers in the market that Chelsea can have a better. Well, they can have a better keeper than Sanchez.
Yeah, they should be.
That's my point.
Yeah,
there's enough keepers to have a better
100%.
keeper.
Yeah, he won't be their keeper for long.
But yeah, I think and to illustrate the point, Cole Palmer scores. So Brighton go ahead first within 7 minutes.
Sanchez is running out.
Yeah,
into no man's land.
Calamitous goal.
Superman.
And I'm like, okay. And then obviously the way Brighton have been playing, front foot, high intent, I'm thinking, is this, again, it's only been 5 games, but we were quick to say, Chelsea are moving in the right direction. Is this the day where actually you get taught, relax?
Yeah.
Then Cole Palmer scores 3 goals in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
First goal, great composure. I think Nicolas Jackson rolls it across to him.
Yeah.
Again, keepers come out. I don't know where he's going. And it's an open goal, but it's not an easy chance. He takes it first time. Good finish. Then we have the penalty. I was never worried about him scoring. And that one wasn't a contentious one, was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And then the third goal was
free kick, wasn't it?
No, the third goal was a free kick.
Yeah.
And again, you know, a player's got to a certain point where I'm watching a free kick and I'm expecting him to score it.
Yeah.
As opposed to be like, if he scores it, I'm like, no, I'm expecting him to score
and confidence hitting it, was it 30, 35 yards? And the ball was still rising when it hit the net.
And you can see the way it was set up, there was no, he's going to clip it back. But everyone was like, okay, he's shooting.
Yeah.
There was no kind of setup with his teammates, anything like, this might. There wasn't even anyone on the left-hand side of the wall, maybe who could peel off for a shoot. No. Cole shooting, innit? So again, amazing execution. The guy's confidence is just crazy. And then for his fourth goal, well, hold on. Then we have the Sanchez show for Brighton's goal, make it 3-2. Yeah. At this point, I'm like, okay, this is why I made the point I made at the beginning. We've had striking excellence, we've had attacking excellence, penalty, free kick, and the first goal. But it's now 3-2. And it's 34 minutes. What's going on?
Yeah, what we doing? Unnecessary pressure on your team.
Exactly.
Defense,
what are you saying?
Because that mistake, because Caicedo passed it back to Colwell, and then anyway, and I was like, you're meant to. He tried to go hit it long, and he just missed it. He went straight to them and Belieber, but it's not.
And then Palmer scores his fourth goal, which I think is the best of the lot.
Yeah,
I know it's not obviously the best one because the free kick was crazy, but the run and the way he's taking the shot on, and the accuracy and the power, like that's one of the few near post goals where I've got nothing bad to say to the keeper.
Yeah,
like literally took it on a little bit earlier as well. Didn't even bother take a touch or set himself.
And they had a goal disallowed in the first half as well, Chelsea.
Oh yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, and there just seems to be a few things going well there, attacking wise. Again, Jackson's contributing every week.
Just a quick one. Do you think they wouldn't have signed Neto if they knew Sancho was available earlier?
I think they would have still signed Neto because out of the two, Sancho was such a gamble, right?
True.
Even though he went back to Dortmund and did well, it's still a gamble. The only thing that might not have been a gamble was, I'm pretty sure, Maresca, that's the name?
Yeah, worked with him.
Was at City when Sancho was there.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was there. So he would have seen. Yeah, and they wanted to sign him. They wanted him to stay. Wanted to give him another pro contract, etc. And he said, "No, I want to go and play." So he would have almost been able to sift through some of the noise and be like, "Actually, I know what you can do or what you could be doing." But I think if you take into account their model and what Neto was doing when he wasn't injured,
yeah, it works. Yeah.
Like, it could be crazy. And probably what Modric wasn't giving them as well. Because he's another one. I think somehow he's out.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to Marseille or something.
Yes, definitely. And I think, did you see the Cole Palmer's interview afterwards?
Which one?
I love him. I love nonchalance and arrogance.
I was just about to come on to that, right? I honestly think the most dangerous thing about Cole Palmer, if you're not a Chelsea fan, right? So for everyone else, is that he doesn't care. I don't think he cares. Like, he's just scored 4 goals in the Premiership. And if you see his interview,
Blasé, innit?
He's like, I should have had 6.
Yeah, should have 5, 6.
I just try to do the best I can in it. And I think, and he didn't just score 4 tap-ins. Let's bear that in mind, right?
Yeah. So a range of finish.
Yeah, so he scored a decent tap-in, fine.
Touch.
You score a penalty, you score a free kick from 35 plus yards, and you score a quality goal near post. Plus his overall gameplay basically ran the game from an attacking point of view for Chelsea. And they said to him, Theo Walcott said, you've got elements of Bergkamp. You remind him of Dennis Bergkamp. And he said, yeah, that's nice, but I was too young to watch him play. I've watched clips and stuff. And I just love his honesty and his, as you say, he's so laid back and so nonchalant. And I think that's the most dangerous thing because it just doesn't seem like anything phases him.
Yeah.
and he's just going to keep going. He reminds me a little bit of Jude Bellingham in that sense, even though I think Jude Bellingham is a little bit more outgoing. But again, all this stuff's going around him, and Jude Bellingham just seems to just.
It's like, it's my job, innit?
Yeah,
why are you surprised?
Like, and this is normal for me. This stuff I'm doing. Yeah, I know I'm good in it. I'm just doing it. So yeah, I think I think it's great. But he just reminds me of that whole generation is like that. It reminds me a little. I mean, he talks a little bit more than Michael Elise, but it's the same type of vibe. I don't know why you're asking me these questions. I'm a good footballer, so I'm doing stuff that good footballers do. So ask me questions.
Why are you expecting anything different?
Yeah.
This is what, and there was another thing he also called out Brighton's tactics. He said we knew they were going to play a high line, and we just capitalised on that. And like when you're playing dunk with a high line, oh,
yeah, that is mad.
Dunk,
but isn't his centre back partner meant to be Swift?
Oh, but not being funny, he done a great clearance off the line. The centre back partner, I think,
Nicholas Jackson's one
took it round him.
That pass from Palmer where he looped it in the air.
But I think this is when we talk about techie. Everything Palmer does is like there's a level of it's just techie. Like
I tell you what though. You see that pass here?
The high one.
Yeah. So the commentators went a bit overboard with that one still. But because it was Palmer, he did it first time. Oh, the technique, come on.
Yeah, of course he's gonna get
bruv.
And to be
it was a decent
Jackson
pass.
has to make that work as well because his touch and
and he made the because there's ways that pass could have been easier and simpler for Palmer. But when the wind's in behind you, everyone's on board. Everyone's on the train.
But you do that at Sunday League as well, innit? I scored 2. Yeah, let me try this.
And I think like the question mark was around was Palmer's last season a bit of a fluke and caught everyone? We know it's not now. I think we can confidently say that he's going to be playing at a very good, consistent, high level.
I agree. I think we'll save this one for later in the season to see whatever numbers he gets. But I think the same way, KDB, Chelsea get heat for letting KDB go and Salah go, blah, blah, blah. City need to get a bit of heat for Palmer.
I don't know. See, like, even yesterday, like, a journalist, I can't remember who was like, should Manchester City say they've made a mistake letting Palmer go? No, they won the league last year. Like, it's all well and good having a good player in your ranks, but if it's not detrimental to your team moving forward, I don't see it as a mistake. You can be like, okay.
No, but
we saw the talent when he was at Man City.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take your point, but I guess my point is
I think mistake may be the wrong word.
No, I do think it's a mistake. I don't know. The only reason I say it's a mistake, sorry, Biz.
I know you're gonna say.
The only reason I say it's a mistake is 2 reasons. One, so my favourite phrase, 2 things can be true, right? So yes, they did win the league, right? But this is not about. I don't think you can measure whether letting a player go or not
solely on winning it.
Yeah, it was solely on winning the league. I think it was a mistake because Biz made the point earlier. There's a little bit of a transition, a little bit of a restructure going on now, and actually Palmer
would have been perfect.
Would have been. I think a massive part of that, right? And right now we're talking about lack of imagination, etc., etc. There are definitely situations where Palmer's kind of unique attributes and approach to the game, whether Pep irons them out of him or not, you could see that happening. So right now, would you rather have Palmer or Grealish in your team?
I totally get that, but it's kind of like a sliding doors moment, innit? Like the sliding doors, he went to Chelsea and it's all working out well.
Yeah.
If he had stayed at City, then we don't even know how much game time he would have got. Like all these injuries might not have happened, etc. So
I fully agree, but I guess the point is, if you let him leave your club, then you don't get to take advantage of those things that are certainties in football. We don't know when, but you are going to get injuries. There are going to be times where you need to switch things up. And to be fair, City did want to keep him, but he said, I want to play. And Pep doesn't guarantee anybody they're going to play.
Yeah, I just see it as a good deal for both parties. He's exploded.
It's a good deal for
He's
Palmer.
exploded to a certain level and they got 50 million.
No.
I think it's a better deal for Palmer than City.
Yeah.
And if you look at whenever this restructure goes around, etc., the output that Palmer's going to give Chelsea, or it looks like it's going to give, that's why I said I'll leave it to the season. What will City have to pay
to get that in?
To get that output in there?
They paid, 90 million for Grealish?
Yeah.
And he's only given him, 15 goals?
Yeah.
Then you got Bernardo Silva that's he's been asking to leave for the longest time. He's edging towards the end. You're saying that they're playing Gundogan in the 10 yesterday.
Yeah, no.
Got him back from Barca.
Yeah, I understand.
So I think.
So I know what you're saying.
that's
It's easy
hindsight,
for
but
the
like, yeah,
and it's easy for the
yeah.
internet to be like, you made a mistake. But I just think if you look at a bigger picture, and if this is why I said if he has another season like he did last season, then we can almost say it's almost like the same thing with Saka when he was doing this thing. Okay, let's see, bro. Like, can you do it regularly? Can you do it in the Champions League? Can you do it for England? Palmer's ticking all those. He's on the same trajectory. He's ticking all those boxes.
100%.
So if he does that, comes to the case, I think you have to look at City and say that's probably one that got away. I don't think they would have the same sentiment, for example, towards Sancho, because we can demonstrate players who would have done what Sancho would have done for them and more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I just think Palmer is looking like actually that might be, and every club has that.
Yeah.
We're just not, I just feel like it's easier with some clubs and the manager because it was a narrative for Mourinho. I'm just saying that I think because it's Pep and it's, like you said, they won and stuff, that's a conversation that needs to be had if Cole Palmer does, go on to be a established Premier League talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So yeah, over to the Emirates. Arsenal, Leicester. So as I said,
So close.
This
So close.
this foolish early season. Oh, City have slipped up early in the day, so Arsenal must win. I was all caught up in that as well. And first half, it just seemed all. I say all Arsenal.
No, it was all Arsenal.
Team.
It was all Arsenal. It was actually
We was camped in their half.
Yeah, it was good football. Everything looked sharp. Was quick. Martinelli finally gets a goal. I think that's his first goal since January or something, or February. And he missed a chance earlier, which I thought, here we go, another Martinelli day. But I think the City game was a really good performance from him. His best performance in a while. And when I say best performance, I think he always performs well defensively, which is why Arteta keeps him in the team. But going forward, it was better. Yeah. It wasn't what it needed to be, but it was better. This week, he gets a goal. And then inevitably, when you're on a drought, you score a scrappy goal. But they all count. So it was good movement. Near the penalty spot, scuffs a shot into the bottom left-hand corner. But they all count. You need them.
Yeah.
And then he sets up Trossard. So he gets a goal and assist in the first half. Happy days. Trossard again with a very decent finish. Nothing unusual for him.
Yeah.
To be honest. But it's a bit of a, I don't want to say trademark, but Martinelli goes to the byline, does some good work, cuts it back, and Leicester are not really marking with any intent in the box. And he effectively scores from the same place Martinelli scored. Bottom right. And then we get to the second half. And everything changes. Everything changes. A bit of fortune, but I don't know. I think Leicester came out with a bit more intent. And Justin, I don't know his first name, and I hate when people have second names that are first name.
Yeah, James
Justin.
Yeah.
Scores within 2 minutes of the restart.
Yeah.
Scores a header that comes off Havertz's shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what they say about that scoreline? 2-1. Dangerous scoreline. What do you when that goal goes in, I know it's early on, but for the next 10 or 15 minutes, I feel like Leicester stepped into the game a bit more. What do you think?
I definitely, but it's that old cliche, don't you? Like, you go 2-0 up, the team's going to come out and they're going to throw the kitchen to the sink and do everything to try and get back in it. And it just, like you said, the first goal went in, it just caught us off guard. It's like, and it was like a deflected. And
it happens. Because I think Ray is getting that.
100%. Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And then the second goal went in. And I was like, Trossard, you didn't follow your man.
What? Fair.
Yeah, so, but because we're looking at it in two different ways. I might have been looking at I looked at it how you may have looked at it initially. So you looked at it that Calafiori should have just passed him on to Salib, Gabriel.
Yes.
But naturally, what you do as a defender, you go with your man. So he's gone with his guy. Trossard's supposed to be looking at, you can just take that guy and maybe there's a little miscommunication. And then when Trossard's trying to get back, you see what?
Yeah, he looks like he's running in sand, bro.
Yeah, and you see James, boom.
But I think from Leicester's point of view, 2-1 down here at Emirates, it was good play on the left-hand side. I don't even know what Ndidi did over there. And then he whips in the left foot across, and it was a good cross, really good cross. And then he's just textbook volley technique.
Yeah, no one's expecting that.
Right.
No one.
When
I saw the clip,
I did feel like I was in the 90s, early 90s. Like those type of volleys.
I'm never going to lie. The way he was watching the ball, like nothing was taken off the ball, and the way he shaped up, I said, Like when the ball was coming up and the way he was moving, I said, this is going to be decent, but I've expected Rare to save it. But boy, off the post, that volley was
Clean.
goals like that. You don't even mind. I'm
Yeah.
annoyed, but you don't mind.
Yeah, you got to take it on the chin, innit?
The quality was mad. So you almost have the two things that, if you're unfortunate for it to happen in one game, let alone one half, a deflected goal that wouldn't have happened if without the deflection, and then unbelievable quality to finish the chance. So, but to your point, if you had more pressure or Trossard had followed his man, and there's almost a double team at the back post there. He doesn't have the space to execute that volley.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. So then it's 2-2.
And then
everyone's a bit rattled.
Turns into Superman.
Bruv.
Is it Hermanson?
Well,
oh my! I thought the football gods was against us because it reminded me of one of the saves. I think Kai Havertz point blank save.
Yeah.
Whoa. So which one? Which one is that?
Where he
he's in the
flicked over to the back post and he chested it and volleyed it.
Yeah. That's a bad miss to me.
No, but this is what I'm saying.
That's a bad miss.
I'm not disputing that, but it gave me the football god vibe. You know, like when you lot was in the Champions League final, was it Shevchenko? He headed it straight at Dudik's hand.
Yeah.
And it went over the crossbar. I was like, we're not going to win this game.
Yeah, I thought he would. Yeah, I thought they would hold out. To be fair, like when the clock gets to 90,
yeah,
I say like.
But these days, when you see that +7, I'm like, okay, there's 7 minutes to go.
I'm just
so like back in the day, it was 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The one that where I may got a little bit of that feeling like this is it, it's 2-2. I'm just gonna allow it. Was when again playing out from the back, keeper's playing out the ball. I think it's Declan Rice is pressed. And then was it Trossard? It was Trossard.
Yeah.
And again, it's another said, I'm like, come on, guys. Yeah. Because even if he doesn't shoot, and this is what annoys me about Trossard sometimes, he's so trigger happy. He rolls the ball across. Havertz has got a tap in at the back post. Yeah. Right? So at that point, I was just thinking, we're so desperate for the goal. We're probably not maybe making the best decisions, or we're not kind of finishing as well. And then the goal we do score, talk about football gods.
Yeah.
How does that even have enough power?
But he just put it back into the dangerous area.
Yeah. He wasn't even shooting.
Innit?
So, I mean, as a Leicester player, it was a bit like us last week. You must be so deflated.
Yeah.
Because you were 2-0 down, you're now 2-2, it's 90-something minute. And he's not even like he's clapped it top corner or anything like that. He was just
scrappy.
So innocuous.
But you saw that Saka adjusted his corners to make them go a little bit deeper. Because they done the analysis on Match of the Day where there was like a similar chance to the goal just before, and then that corner comes in again, and Trossard's just free at the back.
Yeah.
It's like he picked him out rather than put it under the crossbar, which he has been doing, that little bit further, and I was just like...
But that set piece coach, if his agent hasn't organised some kind of goal bonus for him, fire him immediately.
Yeah.
That set piece coach should be on a
serious... But it's on Saka as well, man. The consistency
of those corners is mad.
I was watching Liverpool yesterday, and like we barely hit the first man. Like most of our corners. And then you look at Saka, and it's even Rice, like both sides.
It's like they swapped Rice. They swapped Martinelli out for Rice.
Yeah, the consistency of the corners shouldn't be underlooked. Like,
I agree. We talked about that in the group the other day in one of the other groups we're in. Because someone was talking about Saka's goal contributions in the first 5 games. And people were like, oh yeah, but some of those assists have been corners. And we were like, well, yeah. But being that consistent, I mean, you look at the Tottenham game, and he was consistent with the corners time after time again. I think that should be underestimated. And even with free kicks, I mean, we don't get that many free kicks at the edge of the box because of the way we play, the type of game we play. But again, I'd probably back him on free kicks from a decent distance.
Like direct free kick?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But when someone's that consistent with it, I would.
You think so?
Yeah, I think him.
Odegaard, Rice?
Odegaard, maybe. I'll put dark horse Timber. He looks like he's got decent technique. I'll put him as a dark horse, but he wouldn't win. It'd be Saka or Odegaard or Rice that takes it. Right?
So, I think we played well. Like everyone was like moaning at us for doing the low block for the last or deep line against Tottenham, Man City, and whatever. And it even included Brighton, but we went down to 10 men against Brighton. So you're saying that's 3 games. However, this week was like, cool, we can play now. And we were camped in Leicester's half.
Yeah, man.
And we went 1-on-1. We said, Saliba, you look after Vardy. Gabriel was in the half. Calafiori was in there.
Yeah.
Timber was up there. And then again,
Gabriel should have had another headed goal as well. Yeah. But keeper was playing magnificently.
Yeah. The goal was coming. Like, I think even when you go back to 2-2, I messaged one of my groups, I was like, Arsenal with this. There's enough time
And
you to
we're
create stuff.
calm
And
as
how-
well.
and
We're
how
not
you're
panicking.
playing.
We weren't panicking. We weren't just throwing balls in the box. We were playing
playing
and
football
playing.
still.
And I think what I will take from yesterday's game is it's a decent little wake up though. It's a decent little wake up. Like, listen, it doesn't matter. And they knew it, but after last season, guys, the chances have to be taken. Especially that one where the keeper made a mistake. You got to punish those kind of mistakes. And those are the moments where people will say, "You've got a clinical striker. That's a goal." And over the season, there's gonna be 2 or 3 games, maybe even 4 games where you have someone who their number one job is to finish. And those are the things that may, do you know what I mean? Like, if that's going to a Haaland or a Tony or someone.
Don't you think?
I'm not saying we need a striker for the goals. We score enough goals.
Yeah.
It's just
Don't you think
the chances that we don't execute.
Don't you think? Because if we look at Trossard's numbers, the amount of time he's come off the bench and scored goals, I think he's got like 9 or 10.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Coming off the bench,
Mm.
isn't that for you a sign of clinicalness?
Yes,
Because
but
it's not, because I think some people make a mistake of, and I know you're going to agree, where they say they think of Haaland and
Yeah.
they think that's clinical. But I'm confident in saying that Jackson's going to get about between 18 and 22 goals.
I agree.
But none of us will call him clinical.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So,
Bruv, I had this argument. What group? Was it the same? I had this argument. Someone was saying they wouldn't call Jackson a very good striker or clinical. And I said anything, it was super good. And I said, he scored 12 Prem goals last season. If he scores 12 plus Prem goals again this season,
yeah,
and he scored 12 goals in the Liga the season before.
Yeah.
So in two of the top 5 European leagues, he has scored double figures and gone over 12 goals. You're clinical, bro.
Yeah.
Not many strikers do that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You can't, there's not many strikers you can show me recent times, especially with all the money that was wasted on strikers, etc., who have done that 3 seasons running. There's very few. You could probably count them on probably on one hand.
Yeah.
From a striker point of view. So I'm with you.
So, and that's it. So again, like you said,
So my thing the reason why I made that comment is he frustrates me a little bit because he's not a striker. Some of the decisions he makes when he's in that position frustrate me. But if he's coming in a box late or latching into a chance after a cutting, he knows what he's doing. When chances like that fall to him, sometimes I can just find he's a little bit not indecisive. He just doesn't always make the right decision. So it's never going to be about number of goals. It's always going to be about
when the moment
certain
comes.
circumstances where you need someone with a certain mentality in the box. We just lack that a little bit. That's all. I'm not saying it's going to prevent us winning the league because, again, that's not why we didn't win the league last season. It just helps. And then we think about the Champions League, think about the FA Cup. You're going to get into lots of situations where you just need the highest level of clinical finishing. And whilst we score a lot of goals, I don't think we've got that. I think as a team we have, but I don't think we've got someone that. It used to be Martinelli for me. If he's running for a goal and he's got a chance, he's scoring. That's how I used to feel about Martinelli's, how he was finishing wise. But if we look at clinical finishers in the game right now, I think maybe we would say Saka, if he's got that one-on-one chance, he's good at finishing. Trossard has shown that when he's come off the bench, and we're early in the season, so I might change my tune in 10 games or 15 games. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when we see Haaland go for Haaland's an alien, but you know what I mean. Even Watkins gets certain chances. We're expecting him to score. Yeah, he set that bar.
I think Trossard's moving into that, and there's little things he's done, like that first time attempt yesterday where he just stretched in.
And he hit the post.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there was nothing else to do. Because most players would either try to control it or lash at it, and he said, "I'm just going to stab it," and he stabbed it, and it hit the post. So
And he might get better at it. So I'm saying that now. If he has to play up there more, and actually, Arteta's looking at it like, look, you're basically keeping Jesus out of the team. Yeah, he'll improve in that regard and etc.
Yeah.
So it's not a terminal thing.
I think what was nice yesterday for us as well, a couple of things, was that Sterling looked like he had a spring in his step.
He was looking to write the Carabao Cup, but I thought it's Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
it's Bolton, but yeah, nah.
Yesterday he looked like a little spring, and Ethan Waneri.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Wait. He came on, I think Arteta even said it. Said he came on and he beat 2 or 3 players.
And bang that shot.
And he said, it's a Premier League game, it's 2-2, and you come on and that's what you're going to do. He didn't let me control him.
He's safe and...
No.
Yeah.
How old is he? 18 or
17.
17?
He's a unit though. He's solid. I never knew he was that big.
Wow,
But
that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's
72.
ridiculous.
You know, I've got to give him the respect of
I think he's gonna play. He's gonna play quite.
Yeah, he'll have
a
a
bit.
big, if he stays fit, he'll have a
Yeah.
big impact in your season, I reckon.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Interesting.
an assist or a goal, vital goal in
Yeah.
it somewhere. Yeah.
And we'll move on in a second. But I guess my not criticism. I guess my thing with us is Odegaard is a unique player, right? So when he's in your team's gonna play a certain way. We need a plan B, which we've been showing, but not a plan B as in it's a step down. It's just an alternative where we're still effective, we're still creating chances, we're just doing it a different way. And maybe Ranieri can do that.
Yeah.
You know, in those games, maybe he can become that player, or maybe it allows Arteta to do something entirely different, and somehow fit the two of them in, etc. So it's exciting that someone else who can have the same impact in the game creatively, but in his own way, is coming through. He's coming through the ranks as well. And there's also Miles, what's his name, Lewis Kelly as well to come through. So yeah, one to watch out for. And hopefully, with those guys so close to the first team, Carabao Cup also, good run. I think, Arteta should be trying to win the Carabao Cup.
100%. I'm with you.
Anything for these men to just taste a Wembley final and lift it on. Anything.
Going, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's why Pep and Mourinho always took those cups seriously.
Yeah.
And no one else did, and I never understood it. But if the top managers in the world are taking it seriously, why are you not taking it seriously?
But that's that desire to win, innit? That we win everything.
Anything.
We win it. So.
All right. An interesting thing kind of actually came up yesterday as well. Obviously, Gordon had a positive impact on the game against City for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Martinelli has been under the spotlight recently, due to his record, his goals and assist record being a bit underwhelming.
That's nicely put.
So that kind of came up as a thing of, well, would you have Anthony Gordon or Gabriel Martinelli in your team? Who would you go for?
Like, I don't want to do the whole recency bias thing.
But that's what it is.
And that's what it kind of
But is it
boils down.
recency bias when Martinelli hasn't produced for 9 months?
Yeah,
that's not
true.
recency bias, bro. That's a whole season's worth of time.
But if you go back before the January,
Yeah.
he was very consistent for Arsenal in a Arsenal team that wasn't necessarily as good as what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
So the argument is maybe his level hasn't raised. He's better off in a team that's not as flowing and coherent.
Okay.
And
that's a
he
good
can't
point.
keep up with the players that are
Yeah, but
kind of
last season, oh yeah, you're right. But the first title challenge season,
Yeah.
he was a consistent performer. He did have good output. That was a season everyone thought, ooh, that GNA season was like, whoa.
But it's carrying it on beyond that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than a flash in the pan.
And he's not that young anymore. So he's not young. He's 23.
Yeah.
23, 24. So
Yeah, where Gordon, like Adrian said earlier, you can kind of see glimpses at Everton. You know why Newcastle went after him. And when
bruv,
he's on
answer
form,
the question, bruv. Bear politics.
You know what I mean? Like, if you could
give
have
some
one of them for
context
your
and
team, who
nuance.
would you take?
I'm taking Gordon.
Mm.
Over to you, Adrian.
Yes.
I can't even lie. I'm never going to do this whole... Gordon's impressed me. He's really impressed me. Like, the football IQ level has really gone up, and he can play he can play 4 position. Left wing forward, right wing forward, cam, and up front.
Yeah.
And he's doing it at a very good level as well. The only thing against Gordon is, are you prepared to pay 70 to 80 mil for him? And I think that's the issue now. To get him out of Newcastle.
Well, that's why you should have taken the risk when Newcastle did.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's
This goes back to point you made a few times about a few players, about the big clubs being, I think the word you used was lazy,
Yeah.
but you don't take the chance, then my man goes somewhere else, and then now you got to cough up whatever it is.
Chelsea looked at him and Everton turned him down, didn't they?
Yeah.
So I think a couple of teams have looked at him, and I think at the time Martinelli's performance at Arsenal, well, we don't really need him, and
Yeah, cool.
So I'm gonna say Martinelli. And admittedly, if you just take a step back and look at it, Gordon ticks a few boxes that Martinelli doesn't. And he's consistently proved that. So, for example, Martinelli, sometimes his lack of awareness when he's got the ball, he seems very head down. And it's very much at the last minute that he wants to have a look and see where he's going or what he's doing. I think Gordon is a bit more versatile. I couldn't see us play Martinelli down the centre, even though when he was going through that run and he was finishing like that, I thought he's going to end up playing in the
As a
centre,
9,
possibly. Almost doing what Trossard's doing now.
Yeah.
But the only thing why I would still say Martinelli today, to your point about recency bias, is I've seen him do and perform at the level he needs to at the sharp end, right? When you are chasing the City, where you do have to beat people, where the pressure is different. I don't know how Gordon would whether Gordon would keep this level or show us the difference between him and Martinelli at that point. Yeah. He could, but I've not seen it. So if I take away the recent 9 months, which is a long time, I would still go Martinelli, but I'm not gonna lie, that is shifting. If he has another mid-season, you ask me at the end of the season, I would take Gordon or Barnes.
You know, like in that Barnes, you know.
Bruv, Harvey Barnes.
What?
Bold statement.
That's bold. But in the reason why I'm looking at Gordon differently, because there was times where he was holding up the Newcastle front line by himself. Remember, Wilson was injured.
Yep, Isak was injured.
Isak was injured.
Yeah.
And I think, could his numbers be higher if he was just able to play left wing forward?
Yeah, and get the kind of service that Martinelli gets and get the positions.
But because of obviously the need of the team, he had to go up front, go right wing forward, and maybe he lost out on some numbers or lost out on some goals and assists just because he had to play a different position.
I think if it wasn't for the English tax, we would see Gordon. I think we're going to see Gordon no disrespect to Newcastle, in a bigger team than Newcastle at some point. I just think he's going to have a mad season because, again, like you said, it's going to cost 78. How much did they pay for him? 40? 50?
Yeah, 40, 50.
Yeah, so it's a 80, 85 mil. I could see him going to Liverpool.
Yeah,
if Diaz wasn't doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
Obviously he could go abroad, like, but
I don't know, because he signed a new contract, right? I just think he's stuck there now.
You think so? Nah, I don't think so.
I
think the contract's not to sell him, but if someone does come
value
in,
retention, yeah.
We can say, right, he's got, because it's a 6-year deal, it's a long time. So you can say after, say, like the World Cup, he's still got 4 years left. If you want him, pay the
and
money.
he's young, isn't he? He's what, 22, 23?
Yeah,
we'll check. But I think he showed us at Everton, innit? He's about his career.
Yeah.
So if someone comes into right set for him, he's gonna, like, Newcastle, I'm out of here. He's not a sentimental guy. It doesn't seem like it anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, interesting one. That I think on the face of it, people are like, what? But when you really think about it, I think there's a good argument.
Yeah, it's a conversation.
Gordon's got probably a better all-round game than Martinelli. And performance level wise, he's ahead of Martinelli as it's been for recently. All right. So quick roundup of the other games. Everton, Palace. Palace scored early. So we thought, okay, here we go. Everton, usual shenanigans. They've been giving up leads recently, so they just decided not to go in the lead this time and give up the game anyway. Mark Gay scores from a corner within 10 minutes. But then Dwight McNeil says, no, that's not what we're doing today. Just after half time, he puts one top corner from what, 30 yards? 35 yards?
25, 30.
Nice finish.
And then a nice finish 8 minutes later to make the game 2-1.
Did you see the touch for his second goal? I thought he miskicked it initially. I was like, nah, I gotta go back.
Behind, right?
Yeah, I gotta go back.
Yeah.
And the way he plucked it out of the air, I was like, yeah.
Talking of touches, remind me when we get to the Liverpool game. So yeah, much needed win for Everton, 2-1, home win as well.
Branthwaite back.
Commentator said, there's no coincidence he's back and they've won 2-1. What are you talking about? Seriously. Again, we're such an early stage of the season. That win takes them up to 15th. Wolves, Liverpool. So this is a perfect example of how football respects nobody, right? So, I think Liverpool were all over Wolves in my mind. First half,
debatable. First 20 minutes, I'd say Wolves had the ball, but weren't doing anything with it. Basically,
that's one. But I think people. So they kept the ball okay, but to your point, they didn't do anything with it, and maybe they didn't. They weren't as overwhelmed by Liverpool as maybe people have thought.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, it was Liverpool's first half, right? Then Konate scores right before half time. So you're like,
Perfect timing.
perfect timing. This is great. All right, it's all gonna be crazy. Then he comes out at half time and decides he's just gonna move mad. Because because they started the same vein second half. It's,
Yeah, we was
controlling
in control. Yeah, like their goals
and then
totally play.
the ball goes through to Liverpool's goal, and Konate decides to shield it for the keeper. However, the keeper's not coming.
Yeah.
And Alice is looking at Konate. Konate's looking at Alice. Whilst they're doing that,
Yeah.
Wolves player picks up the ball. Was it Cunha? Picks up the ball. And then gives it to Anuri, who scores.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't want to talk about is how Virgil got mugged off, by the way,
Wait.
by Aldi. There was talked about that. Now,
PR.
What, for the goal?
PR campaign.
yeah. He
No.
got mugged off a little bit. But
No.
Watch it back.
Don't watch it back.
Don't get me wrong. It would have been a recovery. There's
a miss kick.
Wait,
and it comes off the defender.
He's not as fault for the goal, but he got mugged off a little bit. Am I lying? He's not even a
Nah,
genital.
I'm not even trying to be a very good defender. Like
You are being a Virgil defender.
So let's be clear. I'm not blaming him for the goal. Yeah.
He said a little.
Yeah, it was just a little bit.
He
I
never
just
said
feel like
got mugged off totally.
he got mugged off a little bit. He did. Maybe it was off balance. I don't know. And then you know what I love?
That's a narrative. I'm outnumbered, isn't it?
You know when someone else makes a mistake in that team, yeah? Virgil's reaction always cracks me up. It's so funny.
Yeah.
He doesn't try to do that whole teeth thing. He's like, oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah. Cool him out.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But Alisson is 35% at fault for that goal.
No, so I'm saying 70 Alisson, 30.
And I'm saying you're mad.
So the shielding, Alisson should have come as soon as Konate started the shield.
Yeah, but
When he hadn't seen him, he should have kicked it away. But
Okay, fair.
Alisson has made that whole event go on for far too long.
But Keith, look, you played in the same team for a long time, yeah? As a centre-back, if he hasn't told you he's coming,
Get rid
or
of
even if you shout and say keeper and you don't get a response, you don't just keep waiting.
Yeah.
That is very true.
So
but
unless
he should have been
Alisson
there.
said, I'm coming, which he didn't look like, he mouthed,
All right, let's go
and
50-50, yeah.
his body language.
Yeah.
So whether he should have come for it or not, debatable. But the fact is, there was no indication. If you're Konate, you would have liked him to come for the ball,
Yeah.
but nothing was telling you he's
Just
coming.
swing with your left and get rid of it. Yeah.
Clear out the ball, clear out everyone. So at that point, you made it 1-1. It's a bit nervy. Wolves are feeling themselves.
Let me
And
know.
then the thing is that they got away with a couple playing at the back.
Yeah.
They got away with a couple of mistakes. And then you want to put who did he put in the headlock? Was it Jota?
Jota.
Yeah. The ball's coming in the box. You're effectively I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was
And
doing.
Jota was never getting the ball, really.
Never. And also, it's one of those situations where you were already kind of wrong side.
Yeah.
So whatever you were doing, if he scores that goal, it's kind of the dance is kind of done. All you've done is just guarantee.
Yeah.
Mo Salah's in that team. There's enough in it. Just guarantee they're going to score.
Yeah.
So instead of that mistake kind of giving Wolves a platform to kind of build on, and Konate had a couple of other moments after that, you just handed
Yeah. And it was so soon after they equalised as well.
Well,
Like it just took all the wind out of them.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Well, he scored the pen 5 minutes later, but there's a bit of
I think it
debate.
was only like
4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes
no,
after.
I think it was like less than a minute after they kicked off. After we kicked off when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah. And again, at this point, I'm thinking, I was hoping Liverpool would drop a point. But again, it's just silly. So, and then lastly, Nottingham Forest at home to Fulham. Fulham have quietly started the season well.
Yeah.
They'd gone the first 5 games unbeaten. They'd beaten Liverpool in that process. You know, going okay. But Fulham came to the ground and said, no, I didn't see this game. Did anyone see this game?
I saw the highlights. I know, for me, that wasn't a penalty. And the reason why I'm saying it, because, what's his name? Murillo?
Murillo.
Yeah. He just moved to defend.
Yeah. He's basically walking.
Yeah, so like the ball's got, Jimenez has made the move and he's followed the move and he's ended up stepping on his ankle. But it wasn't intentional.
No, but
No.
it's a penalty.
For me. No,
Because
it's
you
not a
hindered,
penalty, that's part of
hindered,
football. Because
yeah.
I'm telling you, I know, further out on the field, and that happens, the ref was like, oh, it's an accident clash. He might not even give the free kick. You understand? And he would say, oh, apologise or whatever. So I was just like, that was a soft penalty. But Jimenez done his job and tucked it away.
And what's that, 3-3 now for him?
But 3-3 for him, yes, 100%. Also, the addition of Anderson's making a difference.
Yeah, Jota Manson, innit? Yeah.
They got rid of that other centre back that I don't know why Chelsea signed, but anyway.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to leave. He left on a free,
left on
didn't
a
he?
free.
But is he even playing?
No.
No, he's not starting. He's coming.
He's
on
not
a
going
couple
to start
games.
either.
But but Anderson was there 3 seasons ago, innit? So he knows Fulham.
Yeah.
Fulham well. And but when we said Jimenez, he's taken off the head guard.
Well, he had it back on this way back to front.
We said he's weighing him down, innit?
No, he had it on back to front this time.
Did someone say that
he had Kane Rose as well, you know?
But it was you.
Yeah.
He said, I took off the head guard, but he got Kane Rose for protection. This idiot. Bro, it was you. I was thinking it was you.
Yeah,
it was you. But then the Kane Rose gone now, innit?
Yeah. And then he put the head guard back on, but he put it on back to front. Do you remember you used to have the thick bit at the front?
Oh, yeah.
Now he put it, so it's that.
Oh, okay. I thought he got rid of it.
No, I think the doctor said, no, you need to wear it.
Yeah, I think he's got to wear it for the rest of his career, innit?
Yeah, I think
because of what happened.
You need to wear it.
But the thing is, it's a soft material. I don't know how it protects him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Isn't it just like a normal head? Maybe it's not. Maybe
it's a bit like checking it, completely check that thing on for the longest time. I'm like, brother, what for?
Yeah. Mental.
You're missing the game though.
Which one?
West Ham, Brentford.
Oh, yes.
And Bella again. Another first minute goal.
Bro.
They got the record, in it. First team to score goals, three goals in within the minute.
Consecutively,
Yeah,
and it was a good finish, another good volley.
Bruv. I'm telling you, Mbuemo, someone pick him up.
There's that whole Barclays man thing.
Yep.
If he was back then, he'd be a Barclays man.
Oh, yeah.
Like one of them.
Yeah. And then Souček. Did you see West Ham's goal though? They were Papa tried to do tiki taka.
It was like one touch. It was like a scrappy tackle.
No. But his boy was involved though.
Yeah, did you see what he did? You see the miss kick?
No, he didn't. He backhilled it.
Bruv, that tiki taka was tiki taka minus the cod liver oil. That tiki taka was
scrappy taka, bruv.
It was tiki tak, not even tiki taka. It was tiki tak. But anyway, Souček, decent finish. They were trying to play. To be fair, they were trying to play. They were trying to get into Brentford because there was a chance before that where again they were playing quote unquote intricate football around the box. I think it's offered a bit of respite to Lopetegui, but again, they've got a hill to climb. They got a hill to climb. But it's early. It's 6 games in. It's fine. But that's a good segue onto who do we think's on the ropes already? Quickly, who do we think's on the ropes? I think Lopetegui. I don't think he should be on the ropes, but the problem is everyone's got the data these days, right? And I think I said it here before. The data suggests pretty strongly that after 10 games, you're kind of in the region of the table that you're going to finish the season in.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's some outliers and they move, but after 10 games. So if he ends up, 10 games will take him to what? Early November. Because we played, so 10 games will take him to early November. And all the management always fear that, being in a certain position by Christmas, blah, blah, blah. If he doesn't, the team's performance doesn't improve in the right direction, I think, come 10 to 12 games, he could be, it could be perilous for him. He could be looking at a bit of a nudge. Who else do we think's in danger?
I think Eric Ten Hag's always in that conversation. And not, I'm being honest with you.
I hadn't even thought of him,
And you know why it came up as well? Because a journalist interviewed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah.
And said, would you take the job again? And he said, I don't want to talk on other people, but yes.
Yeah.
He just said it
you know what?
And
I saw that come up and I was like, why is this a story?
But
it's like, if someone asked me, if someone gave me £1 million, would I take it? Yes.
No, but it's a story. And the reason why
but it's more of a story because of how Ten Hag is performing.
That's what I'm saying.
Than Solskjaer saying, because part of the narrative around Ten Hag was, who else? So
yeah, but they're not going back to Ollie. Like,
for interim, they may do.
Yeah.
You think Ineos will go back to... No way.
For interim, Ineos needs to be questioned.
I didn't think Ineos were going to keep Ten Hag, but here we are.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I'm looking at Ten Hag, I'm saying because we've got to look at Ten Hag, because they're going to look around and they're saying, Maresca's come in.
Yep.
Look what he's got Chelsea doing. You understand what I'm saying? There's managers that have just come in.
Slot.
And you can see the guy's been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's had 2 pre-seasons.
Listen, I'm not gonna repeat. You know my views on Ten Hag. And I'm so shocked that after him bringing in a whole new management tree, they employed about 25 people in the space of 3 days.
Mm.
New CEO, what's his name? Ashworth,
Yeah.
Wilcox.
Yeah.
Like one of them sporting director, one of them technical director, all these different names. You've basically got a full management layer. And all of you together said, we're keeping him.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me. And now you're paying the price for it because, again, we're 6 games in, it's early, but early indications are nothing much has changed.
Yeah.
Nothing much has changed. But
FC20.
bro.
Yeah. What wild card for me, if Ange ain't there at the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
And I think with Ange,
I agree.
the style of football we've kind of spoken about as well, but you've seen the media narrative has spun 180 quite quickly with him.
What are you saying? The whole mate thing is wearing off?
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah.
And that's because
questioning him now.
he's getting prickly in interviews.
Yeah.
And I think
He's
there's
touchy.
a lady on BN Sport was interviewing him and he like snapped at her. I'm seeing the shift.
What was that one?
It was
Was it the trophy or I'm just telling the truth? I'm just telling the truth.
No, it's about
The
because
trophy.
he said I always win a trophy my
His
second season.
yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of pushed it and he's like, well, you've asked me the question, I'm just answering it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'm gonna lie. I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth.
Like,
yeah.
Which fair play to him. Like they've asked him a question.
Like, Macy
and-
Gray.
Yeah.
That's what he sounds like.
So yeah, I think if results go against Spurs, so like let's say they lose against United today and things don't pick up, I think
he's under the spotlight because they're saying you sign players now. So even though Brennan Johnson's had a good turn of form,
Yeah.
you signed Brennan Johnson.
Do
You
you
went back and signed Timo Werner. Kulusevski's you're not getting a number out of him. Like they're questioning Maddison now. You're not getting a tune out of Maddison. Remember when they first signed Maddison, it was he's better than Odegaard. Maddison's the best 10.
Do you think that the fact that he was also 5th or 6th choice also doesn't help him when it's now time to think, you know what? See you later. Do you think that also weighs into it as well? Or is that a bit of reach? Because you know when you get your first choice, there's a bit of give him a bit more time,
bit of
etc.
grace, yeah.
Actually, is there a bit of, well, all the people we wanted we couldn't get? I'm not saying he's not a good manager, but all right, we've got here now, we'll land here. If it doesn't work, all right.
Yeah, it could be.
Because that will be reflected in what salary they've paid him. You know, he's not going to be getting a Conte salary or whatever.
Yeah.
So do you think that factors in, or is it's still as
look what they done with Nuno. They were like, hold it.
Yeah, it's true.
Then Conte got a bit of grace, even though he spoke out. You can say like he didn't go straight away. I
don't even think what Conte was saying was that mad. Obviously, you don't diss your employer in public, but he was speaking facts. You haven't won anything for time, but I'm the one that's not doing well.
And what's interesting?
What about everyone that's been here the whole time that you haven't been winning? It's
what
cool.
about the organisation?
But now today, me, I'm the problem. Nah, bro.
But and also what Ange highlighted was against the game against Man City last season, and you said the mentality. You lot said you want to lose against City, so Arsenal win the league. Remember, he was furious about
But
that.
that's why I like him though. I feel like he just calls it out as it is. I think yes, you're right. He's getting prickly, and with all due respect to him, this is the highest profile job he's had, right? So he's going to be adjusting to that. But the only thing I would say I like about him is that he does call it out, even if he's calling out his own players or his own fans. He just keeps it a buck. However, all that's well and good. You need to win games, and you need to win games a certain way. So all that make stuff and being, friendly bear in the bruv, the pitch has to do it.
You know, it was a bit of a wild card for me. The Crystal Palace manager.
No, I think he's fine.
You think he's fine?
I think he's fine.
It's interesting after the
when you lose the players he's lost. When you lose an Elise,
and
when
Anderson.
and Anderson, when you lose the players, I think it's fine.
in the pre-match, he was like, last season, everyone was like, oh wow, Crystal Palace, oh Glasner. But he was like, well, we only finished 5 points above the relegation zone, and we started off poorly now. He's like, maybe we need this so everyone lowers the expectations and kind of understands where we're at. So I think he's quite honest about the struggles that they're
And Steve
having.
Parish is not a knee-jerk type of chairman either. Not knee-jerk type of
But they need results. They need results soon.
And I think they'll have conversations. But when you, again, You're losing the contribution Elise gave you. You're losing Anderson at the back. So if you're Friedman, that's great from a kind of accounting and running the team point of view. But I'll be very shocked if Glasner didn't say that's fine. But we now need to manage expectations of what you're giving me instead, and the direction I can take the team in.
Definitely.
I mean, don't get relegated, but I'm not qualifying for Europe, am I?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, quickly before we go, as I said at the top, there's a current thing about less capable teams. Well, my first point with that is who are you to say they're less capable anyway? The smaller, quote unquote, smaller teams playing out from the back, and it's really irritating the Gary Nevilles and the Roy Keanes and the Carragers of this world. What is your take on it, guys? You know, if you're not a certain level of team, should you not be trying to do things that have proven to work?
I think you need to mix it up a bit.
Why? Based on what?
Just on the events that happen when you consistently try to do it and you get caught out and present opportunities to your opposition.
But how else are you going to learn?
The half times that you do it, that's your introduction. Like,
no, but I'm being
I'm not trying to like make
no, but I'm
light
being
of it.
particularly pointed about it because it's a little bit similar to the Vincent Kompany thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember a Secret Scout was saying, he was saying to me, no, that's your philosophy, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not trying to be a hypocrite about it, but I was coming from a very different stance there where that worked for him in the Championship, and I'm saying you make a choice. What's more important, the way you play or staying in the Premier League? Obviously, Kompany was the way he plays.
Yeah.
That was it. But the base of this is more, you are not good enough
to do it.
To do that, so stop doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who are you? Back with that?
No, so I think it's more about adaptability, and I think it's about who you do it against. So before we
but that doesn't even make sense because if you're not that good, you're not being adaptable is a skill in itself.
No,
but
the point I'm going to make is like Wanyeri's second goal for Arsenal in the League Cup was Bolton trying to play out from the back. Do it in League 1 or 2 against those guys. You can't do that against Arsenal.
You can.
You can.
You can. They can't because he scored. But the thing is, like, it's about doing it in increments, isn't it? You don't just go out and say, right, I'm going to do this against everyone. Because that doesn't work. Like, even Man City don't do that. They don't go and say, we're going to play this way against everyone.
Now, that's very different, though, because you're highlighting decision. And that's the difference. So when you're saying decision, that's what we can question. Why are you deciding to make that pass there and it's not on? But because you're playing in the system, you're making the pass when you should take the initiative and say, that pass is not there, I'm going to go long. It doesn't mean you stop doing it, but it's...
But is it not one and the same, though? I'm not saying don't play.
No, I know what you're saying. You're saying that those guys are doing that because the manager said that's how we play. They don't go long, etc. This is my problem with all of this. Number one, it's a fact, right? That playing out from the back creates more chances and leads to more goals. That's not an opinion. That's a statistical fact. 2, I find it hilarious when generally the people that are saying this are not people that have been successful coaches or are current coaches. It's people that either have never stepped in a dugout.
An era that they played in as well.
Right? They didn't actively play in an era that embraced that way of playing. And quite frankly, when they did the job, they didn't show any acumen that now says to me, I should be listening to you about the way people are playing, as opposed to something that clearly across the entire game is something that has been taught to coaches and been worked through because it works. It's not, they talk like someone sat down on a Saturday, watched Arsenal play or watched Pep's team play or watched Real Madrid play and thought, oh, I'm going to try that at the training ground on Tuesday. No. It's a methodology that's clearly evolved over the years. People are taking their bad, knowledge is shared, things are shared, etc.
And that's fine. But in game, so let's go back to Southampton, Man United, like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's clear in game, you're playing out from the back, and it's not always coming off. In game, you got to be like, maybe I should stop doing this.
Okay.
Do you not see get that point at all?
No.
So even if you lose 3-0,
yeah,
based on you playing out the back,
yep.
you can say,
I could kick the ball long. Man United get the ball anyway. and they build from there.
But
And we
would
still lose
you
3-0.
not rather them have the ball in their third or your
Yeah, but
third?
the team's that good. It doesn't make a difference. It just delays the inevitable. But I think what I'm trying to separate is the top level of why are you doing that? You're not good enough to do that. From you haven't executed that well enough. So as a player, to your point, so it's less about going long or going short. In that moment, as a player, did you make the right decision?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I still think in game, if you're doing something and it's not working as it should in game, I'm not saying the next game don't do it. I'm just saying you've got to have a bit of adaptability in game to be like, right, maybe for the next 10 minutes, we're not going to do that.
But again,
start again.
Yeah, but if you look at what it's trying to achieve, sorry, but if you look at what it's trying to achieve, it's about they're trying to build a base to then progress and attack, right? The other alternatives is a mid-range game, which you need a certain level of keeper to do, which those teams don't. Very few teams, that kind of basically the keeper doing a diag like Xavi Alonso, etc. Or you go long, relatively long to any of your forwards, right? And again, Arsenal do that. Raya will look at the Tottenham goal last year. This is very direct to Saka, and he goes through. People do that. Edison got an assist a couple of weeks ago, but it takes a certain level of player to do that. So I don't think we should now tell teams you should change the way you play or the way you build your attacks because you're not Man City or you're not Liverpool or you're not Arsenal. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and I think it's down to managers. So what I mean by that is down to managers in a sense. Not stop doing it, but you can't do that system. So I'm going to bring the person that can do it. So we look at Arteta.
Yeah.
Look at Pep. Pep done it. Hart, you don't play the way I want you to play. Later. The keeper might not have been as competent as Hart in terms of saving, but in terms of playing out from the back, he done the system. Arteta done it. Leno, good, but I'm bringing in Ramsdale. I was like, wow. And
also, to that point as well, you're bringing in the Raya of that level. That's my point. So I can't tell you to play something for 42 games a year, but because we're going to the Emirates, the things that we've been doing every day, every week of training, just forget that one for 90 minutes. And
you can, man. You can.
Bruv,
you're not set up to do that.
No, you're not, though. You're not set up to do that.
And this is what I was going to highlight. So we look at David Raya now. David Raya, they'll play, and he goes, I can't play. No, there's nowhere to play. David Raya goes,
yeah.
And they all run up, and he goes, all right, now we're going to play percentage. I'm going to pump it into the corner, and between Kai Havertz, you're going to flick it on.
But that would have been an agreed thing with Arteta, and that's what he wants to do. But I guess my whole thing is almost kind of this. I don't know. The attitude was. I think Ricky was saying, "Oh, who do you think you are? You're AFC woman.
Yeah, I'm not against it, but I think
come on, lads.
I think at a certain level and a certain opposition, it's when and how rather than the standard for me. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not saying don't do it because I like seeing teams play out from the back. Like the clip in our football group where like there was I think it was like a young American team where they played it out from the back for like 30 seconds and ended up scoring. I love those kind of goals.
And by the way, even the top teams, it messes up.
Yeah,
it messes up. So that's the whole point. That's a lot of his point. It's high risk, but it's high reward, and also the other teams set up against it. So I don't think it matters if you're Southampton or your Man City. It goes back to a lot of the same things. And even then, as a smaller team, actually the reward is even higher because the amount of turnover, the amount of time they have the ball is so minuscule anyway. When you're starting from your keeper, why am I pumping it up and literally giving it away? If I'm going to give it away to you, let it be because I tried to progress and you pressed me out of it or whatever it is. Not that I just kicked it long and you're centre back. I don't understand it. But I think what that whole thing, I just look at the people that said there's no, again, self-awareness. No self-awareness. There's no humility of, these are guys who are working every day on a training pitch with players to apply a way of thinking. And it's gone wider in the game because there's clear evidence that it works.
Yeah.
Right? And you're just sitting there, just throwing it out the window because you don't know different because you played in a different era. And even as a manager or coach, the ones that did, you're not even at a level to even try and deliver that way of style of football anyway.
And for me, it's just down to the decision of the player. I don't think the manager gives you a baseline to work from. This is the structure, this is the formation, this is how we're going to build up. Now, once you got there, he doesn't tell me to do stepovers.
It's true.
He doesn't tell me do stepovers and beat three guys.
He's not telling Odegaard, twist on the ball 3 times or or whatnot.
So
So
do a Rabona. No, he's just saying, all right, I'm going to give you the foundation to work from. Then you got to make a decision
Try and
within that.
execute it.
the conversation around it should be like any other mistake on the pitch. Why was your body position like that? Why was your first touch poor? That should be a conversation. Not why are you doing that because you're lowly team.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
Southampton. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And it's true, like when you play out from the back and it goes wrong, it is normally down to an individual error.
Yeah.
or
Look at
mistake.
Ramsdale, Arsenal. It was
Yeah.
against Southampton, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the running. It's that kind of stuff where it's actually you've made a poor pass. That isn't yes, playing out from the back there is high risk. But again, that no one said, "Oh, why are you playing out from the back?" No one said that. Well, Arsenal, they criticised Ramsdale for his mistake. That's the point. So let's have that conversation rather than acting like playing the game a certain way is only reserved for the top teams. Because if that's the case, then the game never progresses and they just keep doing what they're doing for the rest of the time and everyone else just scraps it out.
I'm old school, keep it.
Oh, yeah.
Punt it.
All right, man.
Allardyce.
Yeah.
Before we go, Villa and Ipswich are 2-2 at the minute.
Yeah, he scored.
2 for Delap, Rodgers and Watkins for Aston Villa. So that's a good result for Arsenal. Right?
Great result.
Lovely, jubbly.
And look at that, McKenna's playing his way.
Yeah, 83 minutes gone so far. Good for my fantasy team because I've had a stinker this weekend. I didn't put Rodgers
Champions
in.
League back this week.
Yeah, again, if it was gone, it's just
Yeah, quick
Tuesday,
turnaround.
PSG
The PSG this
Mm.
week. Ooh.
at Emirates.
Tidy.
I'm going to be on what's his name watch.
Looking forward to that.
Vitinha.
Vitinha, yeah.
Oh, after the Euros, yeah.
Doesn't Barcola play for them as well? Barcola.
Yes.
That's the next French guy coming up. Yeah.
Wide forward.
Yeah. I want to see the Mbappe-less PSG because Enrique lacks a good juice. He's a good coach. He's a good coach. So,
Yeah, and they started
so,
well in Liga. So.
okay. Right, decent. All right, so European week coming up, but that's another episode of the Centre Circle. We will be back next week.
Peace.
Peace.
See you later.